Hello and welcome back to Star Wars Living Set. Will, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Super excited for this episode. This is the first time, actually the second time,
Yeah.
we've only brought 2 cards. The first episode we ever did, which is crazy to think back that we did that, we did cards 1 and 2, and now we're going to do cards 99 and 100 today.
Woohoo!
So congratulations on making it through, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
The cool part, if you think about it right now, though, I think they just released around card number 450-ish, or 460.
I think it was actually, I feel like it was 465 or something.
Is it?
Something around there.
So we're like 350 cards behind.
Yeah.
We're getting caught up. We're trying to do 4 of these a week. But just want to say thank you to everyone who's, of course, watching our show. Hopefully you're liking our show. And, of course, a great shout-out to Chris Penix, who's done all the artwork on this one as well. So 2 cards this week. Some pretty big actors. Pretty big characters, right? So
Big actors, big characters.
Yep. I'm going to do card number 99, Obi Wan Kenobi.
Ooh.
So pretty interesting. You think about episode 4, which is where this one's from, A New Hope. Right? He's this crazy old man, lives out by the Dune Sea. Yet, if you think about where his character has now come, whether it's cartoons, whether it's its own show, whether it's the backstories, just a crazy amount of story. Right? A crazy amount of story. I mean, I don't really know of another character who's had such a wide-ranging story.
Yeah.
Besides Obi-Wan, I think.
I was about to say, like, he's developed so much. Because we see him, we first see him in, like, timeline order in A Phantom Menace when he's still Qui-Gon's apprentice.
Yeah.
He has his old first lightsaber, which is actually pretty cool.
Yep.
And he's, like, super young, no beard, anything. He's probably, like, 20, 30, maybe.
Maybe, sure.
And then we see him go through the Clone Wars, gets a beard, does all that, stays the same about Revenge of the Sith, and then we see him as an old man in A New Hope.
Yeah.
And, like, we don't really see much of that, like, because there's, like, a big gap between
Huge gap.
Clone Wars and A New Hope. But we can still, I just think it's awesome that we see him going through, like...
And, of course, now that's filled in by Obi-Wan, by that show as well, which is interesting. All right, so let's get to some stats on this card. So they made 2,656, obviously a very popular card.
Not surprised.
Yep, PSA's grade 123, 59 10s, and 62 9s. That's a lot. Now, let's talk about the actor on this one, Alec Guinness. Right, so he was actually born in 1914, lived until 2000.
Wow.
He actually served in World War II as a reserve of the Royal Navy, which I thought was pretty interesting. He was actually even nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Star Wars in 1977.
Wow.
He's been in 62 different movies and shows, some pretty big names of movies. Great Expectations, Oliver Twist, Bridge over the River Kwai, Lawrence of Arabia, and Dr. Zhivago. If you think of movies in the 50s and 60s and 70s, he was one of the main characters out there making those, right? So when you think about when they made Star Wars, most of the other actors weren't really well known.
Yeah.
He was very, very well known. Very well known. In fact, according to the internet, again, some sort of interview, when he read the script and he did the movie, they actually went back and they found some handwritten notes that he sent letters to friends. He called this movie fairy tale rubbish, is what he called Star Wars. He wasn't very excited about it.
Yeah.
They went to him and they said, okay, how about this deal? We're going to double your pay. You don't have to do any sort of PR work for it. And we're going to give you 2% of royalties from this movie.
Wow. That's a good deal.
It's a pretty good deal. And later in life, he said, I made a good deal, and I lived pretty well life off of that 2% royalties in Star Wars, which is pretty cool.
Even though it's just 2%, that had to be a massive amount of money.
Yes. Yeah, I think he did pretty well on that part. So the other interesting part is that apparently Alec Guinness also challenged the other actors to work harder. He's obviously one of the few that have been established. And then, of course, the character comes back in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi as a ghost.
Yeah.
And it also apparently that his character was inspired by Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit characters as well. So pretty cool. Again, you think about these 2 cards together. We obviously have the Master, we have the Padawan. We see that connection how many different times through different Star Wars shows, TVs, movies. This is the original one that we had right here, which I thought was pretty cool.
Very, very, very OG.
Yep. So pretty cool when you think about having Alec Guinness, and then obviously didn't live through the entire movie, but of course comes back, and then a ton of other things with him. So anything else for you on Obi-Wan this week?
I don't think so.
All right. We're going to go to you. Card number 100.
Card number 100, you kind of already mentioned it.
I did.
But it's also from A New Hope, and it is Luke Skywalker himself.
Yep.
Now, I'm pretty sure this is our first Luke Skywalker that we've had.
I think so, yeah. I think it is.
So.
Yep.
Obviously, when people say Star Wars, most people's minds go straight to Luke or some sort of mention of Luke.
Yep.
He's the first, like, real beginning Padawan Jedi that we ever see. He's one of the first actual humans that we see.
Yeah.
Besides, like, that are not with Resistance.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, before I get too much into that, we're going to stats. So they made 2,833. 143 have been graded, 60 10s, and 78 9s.
Yep.
The actor is, of course, Mark Hamill.
Yep.
Who became very famous after this.
Yes.
And then many other mentions.
Yeah.
Also did Broadway stuff to distance himself from Star Wars.
Yeah, so, obviously when you become Luke Skywalker and you're the face of the franchise at that point, he kind of wanted to do some other stuff. So he did some other things through Broadway. He also kind of did a lot of other voice work, a lot of other acting things. One of the things that was pretty interesting when I did the research, though, is that he was good friends at the time when he tried out this movie with Robert Englund. Mm-hmm. Now, Robert Englund, of course, Freddy Krueger, and that's actually... Robert Englund went to George Lucas and said, you should check this guy out. And George said, well, he's already in the queue to meet me anyway. So, but again, Freddy Krueger, Luke Skywalker, a weird tie together.
Yeah.
Weird tie. Yep.
Where were we? He's in 363 different movies, TV shows, and or voices, as you said, which makes sense because he's a really famous guy.
Yeah, he does a ton of voice work, whether it's different cartoons or whether it's different things. I think he kind of found his niche on that part, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. First scene on Tatooine with Uncle, I believe his name.
Uncle Owen.
Uncle Owen,
Yep.
sorry. And Aunt Beru.
Yep.
That's what I was talking about earlier. He's like the first non-resistance human that we see. But yeah. I really like that beginning scene. I like how like the Jawas are like appearing, and then like we see like this like teenage guy just running, and he's like, huh?
Yeah, because they yell Luke, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes running up over the ridge there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Many different ideas of protagonist, and what we're saying here is basically like there are many various ideas that they could have.
Yeah, this is what George Lucas said of different things that he was thinking about for the protagonist for this character. Yeah.
Here are just some of them: a princess and an old general.
Yep.
A father, son, daughter, or two brothers.
Yeah, you can kind of see how those kind of melded into one, right?
Yeah.
So you could say General Kenobi, right? Because he was a general.
He was an old general.
An old general in the Clone Wars, so you could say that. Instead of a princess, we had a moisture farmer, right? So it's very interesting how those kind of melded together into that character, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then also, he actually got in a car crash in 1977.
A pretty bad one, in fact, yes. Yeah. Pretty bad car crash, yep.
And then he also asked George Lucas that if he had died, like, what would have happened to, like, the character and, like, the movie franchise and stuff.
Yeah.
And George Lucas said he would have introduced a long-lost brother and or sister to keep the franchise going.
Yeah, so if you look after the first movie and into Empire and on, Mark Hamill actually has some scarring on his face when he got hurt pretty bad in a car accident. And it could have been those things where he could have died and we would have had Luke Skywalker for Episode 4 and then who knows at that point.
Yeah.
But definitely interesting when you think about Luke's character. Mm-hmm. He's one of the few, though, that he's obviously in 4, he's in 5, he's in 6, and then he shows up later again a little bit in 7 and 8.
He's for like a minute in 7, and then pretty big part in 8.
And no words in 7.
No words in 7.
Yep.
They really paid him like a bunch of money to just stand there and turn around.
Yep.
Yeah.
But obviously you don't have the face of the franchise. You don't have kind of the hero for all of those years. You think of episodes 4, 5, and 6. He was the hero. Mm-hmm. He was the person that was kind of the driving force. Yeah. He was only one of a couple Jedis that we knew of. Mm-hmm. And then obviously it has grown into just a humongous franchise, a humongous everything else. But without these two characters, we don't really have everything else.
I don't think we would have had anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if we didn't have Obi Wan, Darth Maul would have probably never died. Qui-Gon still would have died. Then all this other stuff would have happened. Anakin would have never been trained if Obi-Wan had died.
Yeah.
If we didn't have Luke, we wouldn't have like anything.
Even if you think of like just the franchise in general, if those characters didn't work, right? If Alec Guinness didn't do a great job as Obi-Wan, and if Mark Hamill didn't do a great job as Luke, and if Episode 4 doesn't work because those two are the main characters, and if they don't make it work, we may not even have a Star Wars franchise.
Exactly. Like if they had like chosen someone else who didn't do as good of a job, they might have not done as well, and they might have not even made a 5 or 6 or a 1, 2, 3 or 7, 8 or 9.
You never know. All right. Well, congratulations on getting to Card 100. Pretty exciting. Thank you for doing this. Any excitement that you have? Some favorite cards looking back on, or favorite moments we've had so far in our our first 100 cards?
I really like just doing it with you and like doing all this stuff. It's
Okay.
a lot of fun.
Yep.
But I've also really liked meeting all the people that we've met. Because I mean, we've met 4. I'm just trying to look back. Yeah, 4 people.
Yeah.
4 like pretty cool, awesome people. So yeah, I've just loved doing it.
Yep.
It's so fun to have your guys' support, even if like you're just some of my friends or other people that we don't even know.
Yep.
It's just so great to have your support.
And we got like a whole bunch of other cards coming out because they keep making cards every week,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So in fact, the cards that came out this week, I'm pretty excited about. But we got a long way before we're going to talk about those. So again, shout out to Chris Penix, doing a great job on the artwork. Again, he's still got another 120 some more cards where it's just him.
Yeah.
If you're interested in the cards, every single week, Topps.com on Tuesdays. All right, favorite art of the week. We got Obi-Wan, we got Luke. Which is your favorite artwork of the week on this one?
I have to go with Obi Wan.
I'm going Luke on this one.
Luke?
Yeah, I'm going to go Luke. I like the wind. I like the reflection.
Yeah.
I like Luke on there. So again, congratulations, Will, on getting to card number 100. Nice job. Our next episode, we're going to actually take a break from the cards, and we're going to talk about some other things with Star Wars, the living set. So hopefully you guys will tune in for that special episode. Otherwise, we'll see you guys again soon.
Bye.